Well, hello everyone. I'm going to interrupt my regularly scheduled programming here to showcase a little trick here that I kind of just happened upon and I want to share. Now, I want to start off by saying I am sure that this is, you know, an old fabricator's trick or something like that that was just rediscovered here by chance. But in any case, here's what I got going on here on the drill press table. I have one of these Blair spot weld cutters, and over time, if you're not familiar with how these work, basically you take your punch, right? You knock a little dish into your material that you're trying to remove a spot weld for, and then you set the point of this spot weld cutter in there, and it's spring loaded, so it will set in there and go up and down, right? And that gives you a center, and then this, basically little annular cutter here will come in and hog out the material around the spot weld and allow you to remove the material. And then I think the idea is that you can place it back on and you already have a reference because there's that little boss there that's left from the old panel, or from the panel that you're placing back on. So in any case, the problem I was having, and I'm sure it seems to be a combination of faults here. I don't know that this, well, let me just say, I like this drill, but it's got run out. It had run out from the second I took it out of the box, noticeably so. And there seems to be quite a bit of wobbling from the tip of this when it's in here. So over time, and even if that wasn't the case, this dulls, right? It's just the way that things go. So I'm sitting here today. I have something where I'd really, really like to use this because I want to take a piece out and put the same one back in. I just need to get in between a couple areas. So I needed this sharpened. Now we're kind of cheating here because that doesn't look too bad, right? Right? But I want to show you how I did it. So basically these are pretty simple. This little, you can tell this is staged because of how easy that came off. This little cutter unthreads here. It's a perishable part. You can get a replacement part for it. And actually, the part that we're going to look at here is a replaceable part too. But if you're in a situation like me and it's mission critical that you get it done today, this might help. So anyway, there's a little grub screw in the back here that we'll take off. And then just pretty simple part stack here. I'm going to go set this over here where it can roll off somewhere. Press the pin in. There's a nice long spring here that interfaces with the butt of this pin, or the back of it, I suppose would be more. The back of this pin. So this pin is got a little bulge on the end here so that obviously it doesn't come out of the housing that it sits in. And the problem that presents is if you want to, I don't have a bench grinder here that I want to set up and do that. Maybe I could get away with it, but this is really not that deep, right? This can be done a little bit more simply. And when you're trying to chuck it up in your drill, it's too tenuous to get that little face right there to set up correctly. And you'll chuck it up. This chuck that's up here, I mean, almost no run out. This thing's really good. But there's not enough purchase there to get things settled in here. So this is what I did, and it worked wonderful. I'll take my drill here. I'll set it down on speed 1. I'm just using a little M12 drill here. And then I'll come in and I'll take the front of the pin, the sharp side, and I'll insert it into the chuck. And I don't want it in there too far. And I'll just get it till it's grabbing. Perfect. Now I want as much of that to be proud as possible. And actually, as I'm sitting here doing this, I forgot a tool. So in any case, this is a piece just several inches. This is far too much actually, of 30 thousandths welding wire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip it between the jaws of this keyless chuck right here, right? So I'll go ahead and slip it in between the jaws. If I can do it at the face, that'd be even better. It's really not a super big deal. Just like that. Okay, and then because we'll get that set back in there. Because I don't have the grip of pliers with just my fingers here, I'll take that, I'll set it in the jaws, and then I'll start. You know what's a little bit of a bummer is the fantastic filming angle here is making this a little bit tougher than it would be otherwise, but we will press on. Okay, so you just take that, grip with your pliers at a length back here, and start winding a coil up your pin. Again, I'm sure that this is an old machinist trick, but it was cool. I figured it out today. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and release that off and slip my pin out. Now, if you're just working with your drill, you could stuff this back in your drill, but we have the advantage of this nice press here. So what I'll do is, you know, this slips in here, right? No big deal. I'll take my my nice Knipex cutters here, and I'll cut that off so it's not proud. And actually, probably be easier on everybody if we just slip that out. Cut this back. Great, okay. Now we've got a nice coil. Let's showcase that. Oh, doesn't look too bad, huh? Okay, so we'll slip that in there, and then unfortunately the framing isn't fantastic here, but what we'll go ahead and do is slip that up in the chuck and just gently clamp it down. Now, this will get a little bit loud, but if we did this right, this will run true. And then, again, I don't know that this is the best thing to do, but it worked a treat for me today. We'll take our, you know, forgotten haze file, and we'll make ourselves a nice point. So, that runs great. You can see it's super, super true. And we'll just take the file. Do it with no gloves when you do it, all right? We're not tight enough on there. I'm gonna have to take my word for it that didn't happen the first time. But regardless, I wish I had the before and after, because we're just taking a sharp thing and sharpening it again. This is a great way to get this pin back sharp. Hopefully it's hard enough back behind the initial grind from the factory to last for a minute. And just to do the credit to the manufacturer, because we're not trying to, you know, this is a replaceable part too. Probably the thing we ought to do is go and order that. And boy, if it would focus up, we could all know that it's part 13222. Blair. 13222. Pin for the spot weld cutter. Good tip. Let me know if it helps you out. Bye. Another tip when reassembling this, don't put your file on the table for the vise, or excuse me, for the drill press.